welcome back to DLC. You're hearing my voice on this show, which means it's time for another tactical game. For today's episode, I've been taking a look at Black 1 Blood Brothers, a twist on the tactical military sim genre by Helios Studios. As always, for full disclosure, we were offered this key by the developer through game.press for review purposes. And for total transparency, I've put less time into this game than it deserves and a lot less than I wanted to. Helios Studios is actually a solo dev named Victor, operating out of France. Best I can tell, this is the studio's first and only game. Development has been active since 2017, releasing into early access in 2022. The game is currently available in early access on Steam, with a full release slated for 2027. Black 1 Blood Brothers is a tactical military shooter game where strategy and coordination are key. Command a squad of top operators with unique skills through high-risk missions around the globe. Customise your crew, plan your missions, and adjust on the fly for vast replayability. That's how the dev describes the game. Straight away, this game reminds me of Arma 3, a game which I had a great time with many years ago. It is a highly detailed military sim with near-endless customisation options for your squad. But then it has FPS elements more reminiscent of things like Medal of Honor, Battlefield, or Hell Let Loose. There's also the tactical elements, planning out your assault like you might do in something like XCOM, Command & Conquer, those kind of games. Now that does sound like Black 1 is trying to be too many things at once, and more often than not, when a game does that, it falls short of at least one element, if not all. However, that's not the case here. The individual elements have been designed and implemented with the bigger picture in mind, resulting in a pretty seamless experience. So how does the gameplay actually work? For the purposes of this review, I spent some time in the training mode and then moved on to the story campaign. And before I continue, I'd like to make it incredibly clear, the tutorial in this game is an absolute must. You start by customising your squad. There are presets you can choose from, lending to various playstyles, but this game really shines in its squad customization. In games like XCOM or Arma, you can choose your squad mate's armour, tools, weapons and attachments. Generally speaking, that's about as far as you get. In Blood Brothers, you customise everything, and it has a real tangible effect. You can give your squad mate all the Kevlar armour they can wear, and you'll see their mobility and stealth is in the negative, but their survivability is through the roof. You could give your squad mate a bunch of tools. They'll have a lot of utility in the battlefield, but they'll only be able to carry a pistol due to their carry limits. You can pick options for each element of their clothing and armour, including backpacks, holsters, bandoliers, equipment hooks, everything. And everything you pick has an effect on that squad mate's stats, their stealth, their survivability, movement speed and agility. And then there's the weapon customization. You can adjust just about every part of the weapon, all of which again have very tangible effects on its stats. You could give your gun an extra long barrel for extra firepower, but it'll be heavier and harder to sneak with. Apply a silencer, you'll shoot quieter, but you're going to lose some armour penetration. A bulky stock will improve your aim steadiness and recoil control, but your ADS time and your handling will suffer. You can even go so far as to customise where on the weapon rails certain attachments will sit, like your scope or your flashlight, your laser sight, even things like underbarrel attachments. I don't know nearly enough about guns to understand how to make something usable, so luckily again there are plenty of presets that you can use as a base. It does really well at giving you as much or as little control over this as you want. The level of customization is a bit of a double-edged sword though. While yes, it gives you a huge amount of agency and control as a player, it can be quite intimidating. Thankfully the game does offer a lot of default options to choose from, and the UI is clean enough that you can see the differences your adjustments are making. No walls of numbers and text detailing every single stat like you get on some games. You could honestly spend hours just editing your squad and your weapons. So now we're into the actual game. Each mission starts with a map, detailing your potential drop zones and exfiltration points, as well as the rough location of your objectives. Once you pick your points, you're into the game proper. Now you have two methods of controlling your squad. The first is the tactical map. This is a 3D rendered topographical map of the location. You can see your squad, objectives, obstacles, enemy patrol points, everything in real time. This is very much the tactical element. You can control each squad mate from this screen, determining things like their movement speed, stance, rules of engagement, even the distance at which they can engage from. You can order squad mates to breach doors, stay on overwatch, engage night vision. You can even link commands, so you could have your breachers not advance on a door until overwatch is in place on a nearby hill. Every detail of the engagement is in your control. Realistically, you could play the entire game in this mode and never touch the FPS components. Speaking of FPS components, you can choose to take control of any squad mate at any moment, turning the game into an FPS. What's nice about this is the fact that it feels realistic. Your movements are weighty, recoil is a serious issue, and things like smoke and cover can really affect your efficacy. There's none of this running at 100 miles an hour and barrel rolling through windows while firing wildly like in a lot of modern FPSs. This is gritty realism. While in control of a squad mate, you still have a lot of tactical elements available to you in the form of quick orders. As the name suggests, they're not as detailed as the tactical map, but it still gives you plenty of options to adjust tactics on the fly without ever leaving the FPS mode. You can look towards a building and command one of your other squad mates to breach the door before you get there. You can point out enemies that you can see on the horizon for your snipers to take out. You can even organise what is called a synchronised shot. Say you've got 3 targets in front of you. You can take aim at one and command 2 other squad mates to take aim at the other 2. After a countdown, you all fire at the same time, and assuming everyone hits the shot, the entire enemy squad is wiped out without anyone even noticing and returning fire. During the campaign mode, the choices you have real effects on your future missions. If a squad mate dies, they're dead for the entire campaign. No bringing them back, no magic revives. There are also plenty of other game modes outside of the campaign if you just want something a bit different. Everything from Spec Ops missions, recons, war missions where you work with an NPC allied faction, prisoner of war, siege, and even lone wolf. There's even the option to make custom maps and scenarios which can be uploaded to the Steam Workshop. I feel like it's not very often you see an early access game with Steam Workshop capabilities, so this is a really nice addition. From a graphics and performance point of view, it doesn't go for hyper-realism. The character models probably come in on par with things like Black Ops or Rainbow Six, but the environments are really well designed. There's plenty of variation, so it doesn't just feel like the same map with the same assets just in a different order. The sound design is also really good and lends itself into the realism that Helios are trying to achieve. On top of that, optimization is astoundingly good, especially for an early access game. Most missions will load within a handful of seconds despite how big some of the maps are. I ran this on an Nvidia 1660 and an AMD Ryzen 5, and I had no issues with loading, textures, frame rate issues, there was no tearing, there was no hitching, nothing. And given the quality of other FPS games currently on the market, that is a huge win. So, is Black One Blood Brothers worth checking out? Absolutely. The sheer volume of customization and the different game modes means you'll get plenty of replayability. This feels to me like a spiritual successor to the Arma series, and it's an incredible entry into the military sim genre. Not to mention, it's a full dev team quality game from a solo dev. Just know that if you do pick it up, it has an incredibly steep learning curve and a lot of potential to overwhelm you with choices. As of April 2026, it's £14 or $18. Well worth the price. As I mentioned before, it is in early access, and while I didn't experience any bugs or issues myself, that is always a potential risk when picking up an early access game. So once again, thank you to Game.Press for facilitating our access to this review copy, and huge props to Victor at Helios Studios for making Black One Blood Brothers. I'm excited to see where this game goes, and I hope you check it out.